guys, I'm going to show you my camera setup that I used to make that video just now. That was taken up at the Gap, and it was a beautiful day, and I was able to get those shots using this camera setup. Actually, this is my Hero 2. Normally I have a Hero 3 on here, but this is just for demonstration. So, like a lot of you guys, I found riding motorcycles over the years with cameras, you can get a lot of great shots all over the bike, but there's hardly one that you would leave on there, as your permanent mount. I've always wanted to see what the motorcyclist sees. I want to see straight ahead. I want to see the handlebars, the windshield, maybe some of the instruments. But also, I want to have it soft mounted. I don't want all that vibration and that jello effect. If you mount it with a typical suction cup on the tank or something like that, this will give you a little vibration that causes that jello wave effect that you see in some GoPro videos. So this is pretty good, and depending on the bike you're on, it puts the camera about where you want it. But it's still, like I said, it's clumsy, it's not fluid, and in the twisties like at the Gap or something, your bike is never pointed where you're going. You're always looking somewhere, getting to that point, and then looking back. And so the camera is really behind your action. It's not seeing what you're seeing. It's seeing what you saw a few seconds ago or a half a second ago. But so this mount works out for me. And like I said, if I want to shoot a video of a trip or something, I'll always use multiple camera mounts. But this is going to be my primary mount. Now, like I said, this is the Hero 2, so it's just on here for demonstration. But I can raise the screen. I can obviously plug in a microphone and do the microphone setup like I showed in this other video. I didn't have it up there, unfortunately, but it turned out okay anyway. Basically, this is just your standard GoPro sticky mount with a J mount. Now, on this one, I took two of these and actually got the bottom piece, this small piece, and coupled those together to make this. The last thing I did is I did away with these big clunky thumb screw things and just replaced it with the M5 bolts here and washers. And this is absolutely a solid mount. I mean, there is no vibration, not that there is any from your head, but there's no wind hitting this and making it do this that isn't doing it to your helmet. So if your helmet fits your head good, this mount will fit to that helmet and give you as smooth a shot as you can possibly get. If you're conscious and you want to really take time and move your head like a cameraman, that's okay, but pretty much you're going to be focusing on riding the bike more than anything. So every now and then, like when you come to a stop, you're going to get that head motion looking for a car or something that kind of disrupts the video flow, but all in all, I think it's just a better video position. So I'm going to show you how I did that. Like I said, I'm using just a standard GoPro mount and a slightly modified J mount. And depending on the helmet you got, the chin bar, of course, is where I'm mounting this. You might have a helmet where that chin bar works and this curved or even the flat piece works for your helmet. On both of these, neither will. In neither position will either the curved or the flat mount attach solidly. So what I've got to do is take the mount. I've taken the adhesive off this one, and I've got to make this curvature fit here perfectly. And I'm going to do that by making an impression of this helmet with a piece of fiberglass, and it will not harm the helmet. In fact, I'm going to do it right here for you right now. But this technique can be used to go anywhere. I mean, if I wanted to put the mount here on this reflex where it's actually scalloped in, of course neither would fit there, but I could make the piece to do that. I could even make it to go over a ridge if I wanted to. You can get creative with this. If there's a place where you need to mount a camera and no other mount does it, but a sticky would, if it had the correct shape, this is the technique that you would want to use. So stick around, I'm going to show you how I did that. Visualize the area where the impression is to be made and use a clear Mylar packing tape to completely mask the area off, making sure that there are no wrinkles over the surface to be used. The Mylar tape will become the actual molding surface and will act as a mold release barrier and keep any of the molding process away from the helmet's surface. Next, use plain masking tape to outline the area to be molded. Be sure to make the size of the outline slightly larger than the stock mount base. I am using a purpose-designed mold release wax, but any good paste wax will work since the materials we are going to use will not bond with the Mylar. But waxing is a good precaution because you can never have a surface too slick to mold. While the wax is curing, mask off the rest of the helmet. After 20 minutes or so, the wax is wiped off with a clean cloth. Repeat the waxing process a total of 3 times in preparation for the molding. To make the fiberglass impression, 4 pieces of 6-ounce cloth are all that is needed. I'm using an epoxy resin, but the polyester stuff you find at auto parts stores will also work. I'm just going to take a piece of the fiberglass. We're just going to lay it on there, and if you notice, hopefully you can see that, the fiberglass is not transparent. And it's not until we're going to put a little bit of this on here. Get that horsehair out of there. Now I'm not putting a lot, I'm not trying to flood it. I'm definitely not putting so much on here that it runs down the mask. But as you see what's happening, as I wet it out, it's going right through and making the perimeter transparent, like that. That's all we want to do. And just do it 3 or 4 times here. Okay. And like I said, I want to make sure that it's, you can see if there were any bubbles in there, but there's not. I can see it, but maybe you can't from the camera angle. But you just want to make sure that it's pressed down. On this particular chin bar, the bottom ridge tries to come back away, as does this little hump right here. So I'm just gonna press that down, make sure it's just pressed down there, and that's that. And we're gonna let that sit here. Like I said, I'm gonna let it sit overnight. It's 5 o'clock my time here, but I'm gonna let it sit overnight, and then tomorrow we'll just come and pop that thing off, cut it, trim it, glue this piece to it, fill it in, paint it, and we've got a perfect mount. So stick around, we'll check that out and see you tomorrow. Okay guys, it's been about 16 hours and this resin is completely dried. The piece is cured and it's ready to come off. So what I'm going to do is I've got this little craft stick. It's got a kind of a point sanded on it, and I'm just going to use this to pry it off, and hopefully you can see this. But we're just going to go right here under the edge, and you can see how the blue right there, if I can point to it, you can see how that's just disappearing, and that's because it's lifting. And we're just going to get right here, and there he is. If you look closely, you can see the line left by the blue painter's tape where the piece goes from shiny to dull. This is the cut line. A set of 10 snips easily cuts through the fiberglass base, but a good pair of scissors will work too. 80 grit sandpaper is used to scuff the gluing surface of the base and the stock mount. The shiny side of the fiberglass piece is not sanded. A high-strength industrial epoxy will be used to bond the base and the mount together. The epoxy is to be applied to both the base and the stock mount. Once both pieces are ready, they are carefully aligned and set aside to cure. Once cured, a sanding block with 80 grit paper is used to trim the edges of the base flush with the sides of the stock mount. A quick curing Bondo is used to fill any gaps between the base and the stock mount. After curing, the custom mount is again sanded smooth all around its perimeter and final sanded with a 320 grit sandpaper. Then, the entire assembly is wiped with lacquer thinner in preparation for painting. By placing the mount into position, you can feel when it locks into place where it was made, so a mark is made to denote which way is up. Strips of 2-sided tape are cut and applied to the mount and trimmed flush. The mount can now be placed into final position on the helmet. You now have a one-of-a-kind custom-fit camera mount for your helmet.